Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, the Bitcoin dominance is potentially signaling a reversal, which could be good news for the altcoin market, while Ethereum is still struggling around this major area of resistance, but Chainlink is right now bouncing from this important area on the price chart, while XRP is still trending in the bearish direction, at least in the short term, while Solana is right now bouncing from this critical line of support. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Ethereum chart, and right now the price of ETH is technically still within a larger bullish market. If we're looking at these larger timeframes, we can still see higher lows and higher highs on the price chart and still holding above this massive bullish trend line of support, which is currently sitting at around 2.6k. So technically speaking, on the larger timeframes, we can remain bullish here despite short-term dumps or short-term corrections along the way. And as I've mentioned recently here on the channel, the price of ETH could possibly form a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern right here, because right now we already have a possible left shoulder and a possible head for an inverse head and shoulders pattern. So all we need to form right now is that right shoulder by seeing a bounce back to the upside at some point over the next few weeks or so in order to actually form that inverse head and shoulders pattern. And then we need to see a breakout above these highs right here in order to actually confirm that pattern. And of course, that level I'm talking about is that 4.1k level, which is still acting as strong resistance. And so obviously, at least as of right now, that possible inverse head and shoulders pattern is in no way confirmed right now. It is not confirmed, but it could potentially confirm if we see a bounce back to the upside in the coming weeks. We have to first see that before it would confirm and set up another bullish price target. But right now, once again, we still have a lot of resistance at around 4.1k. And if we're looking at this area on the daily time frame, that's sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k, acting as a major area of resistance. But before then, we also have this area of resistance that we're running into right now, at least as of recording this video, and that's sitting in between around 3430 to 3560. So also expect some resistance around there just in the short term, but if we break out back above 3560, then once again more resistance in this price range closer towards 4000. And as for short-term support, in case we see another short-term rejection from this area of resistance, in that case we have a major area of support right here in between around $3,000 to 3.1k, but just above that we also have this level of resistance right here sitting at just above 3.2k, closer towards around 3250. And so those are the levels of support I'll be watching in the short term, and of course the levels of resistance to watch out for in the short term. And technically speaking, on the daily Ethereum chart, this bearish divergence, at least as of right now, is still currently active, which means we're likely going to see really not much bullish momentum, at least in the short term, and most likely either a short-term pullback or just some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes after a bearish divergence. And obviously, I've been saying that basically every day since all the way back up here, and we've been seeing that play out pretty much exactly as expected over the last couple of weeks here. So this price action right here should not be surprising if you've been watching this channel at least just over the last few weeks or so. But remember, these short-term pullbacks right here can occur during a larger bullish market. So for as long as we're seeing some sort of recovery at some point in the next few weeks or so, then we could potentially form that massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, as I said earlier, and continue with the bull market if we can ideally break out above 4.1k. That is the level that we need to break in order to continue that next major bullish move towards the all-time high. But obviously, until then, we still have a lot of resistance that we first need to pay attention to. And if you want to actually trade these moves in the price of Ethereum or any other crypto, personally, I take a lot of trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is an exclusive deposit bonus that you can only claim using that link. So if you simply just click that link and make your account, you can claim a $20 bonus by depositing just $100, or if you deposit $500, you get a $100 bonus, or if you deposit just 1,000 USD and start trading, you get a $200 bonus straight into your new BTNX account. But that's only available, once again, if you use the link below this video to make your BTNX account and start trading on that account. And also, in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX, there is also Bybit as another option out there, another exchange I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bybit Bybit down below this video. And if you use that link to make your Bybit account, you can get a 500 USDT position airdrop. So basically a free $500 trade, but that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the weekly time frame, and right now Chainlink is actually bouncing from this important golden pocket area of previous resistance, now acting as new support, sitting in between around $21 to $23. So of course this is a good thing to see in the short term, the price actually holding above this area. This is good news for the price of Chainlink. But of course we still have a lot of resistance above the current price of Chainlink if we were to continue this bounce right here. So for example, we have strong resistance at close to $31 based on this Fibonacci level right here, sitting at close to $31, and also obviously this latest high sitting at almost exactly $31, clearly rejecting from that strong resistance. So if we bounce back up, expect strong resistance in between around $31 to $34, because we also have these previous highs acting as resistance closer towards $34 as well. And as I said just earlier in the video for Ethereum, and as I've been saying recently here on the channel, of course, this can play out as just a correction or a minor pullback during a larger bullish market when we're zooming out looking at the bigger picture, because technically speaking, at least as of right now, the price of Chainlink is still forming higher lows and higher highs on the larger timeframes, which is technically a larger bullish market with, of course, short-term corrections or short-term pullbacks along the way during the bull market. And so especially while the price of Chainlink is still holding above this golden pocket, holding above around $21 to $23, the bull market is still looking good right now. Of course, we're just taking a bit of a short-term setback, a short-term break during that larger bull market. And with that being said, if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, right now we've just seen the first invalidation signal for this previous bearish divergence right here. So obviously for all of this time right here, we've been playing out this short-term bearish divergence on the 4-hour time frame, as I warned about multiple times here on the channel, all the way back here, telling you that we're very likely going to see either a short-term pullback or at the very least some choppy sideways price action. So back here, I said we have short-term risk. It's unlikely we're going to see a lot of bullish momentum. But if we're taking a look at the 4-hour Chainlink RSI, we've just started to see this breakout right here. And on top of that, we're starting to see higher lows and higher highs in the RSI alongside higher lows in the price, and possibly soon higher highs in the price. But as of right now, that's not been confirmed, not yet. And so as of right now, this has essentially invalidated this bearish divergence, meaning the bearish divergence is no longer playing out. It's already done its part here. And right now we could be due to see a slight little relief, or at least a bit of a sideways consolidation over the next couple of days or so, just talking about the short term here. Because usually after we see a decent sized pullback like this in the price of most cryptos, we tend to see a bit of a recovery in the immediate short term to reset a lot of the price oscillators like the RSI, resetting out of oversold territories back up towards more neutral levels. And so honestly, I'd not be surprised if the price just kind of chops around a little bit here in the short term, maybe continues a slight little relief, but I don't really expect a massive bullish move like this, and not necessarily a massive bearish move either. Once again, relatively neutral price action with perhaps a very slight bullish bias is what I expect just in the immediate short term for Chainlink, considering we are holding above this golden pocket, acting as major support. As of right now, there's a lot of buyers in that area. But if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 4-hour time frame, because on the larger time frames, XRP has barely changed on the larger time frame, so getting straight into the 4-hour time frame, and right now XRP is still trading within this descending parallel channel, which is technically a short-term bearish trend here on the smaller time frames, like the 4-hour chart, forming lower highs and lower lows. And as we can see here, and as I've said recently here on the channel over and over again, the price of really any crypto during these parallel channels oftentimes tends to basically gravitate towards this center line, as we can see right here. And right now, this center line is currently sitting at around $2.24. So right now, as of recording this video, the price of XRP is trading at very close to that center line, as we can see right here. And so as I've been mentioning over the last few days or so, we can use this very basic information as a potential trading strategy. So for example, if the price dips well below that center line, and especially closer towards this line of support, that could possibly be a short-term buy signal, or a bit of a signal to open a long position, for example, just for an immediate short-term trade. And then once the price of XRP enters into into the top side of this parallel channel, and especially closer towards this line of resistance, those could be some opportunities to either take some profits or sell a bit of XRP, or perhaps open a bit of a short position at close to this line of resistance, just for an example. Obviously not financial advice, this is just sharing a possible trading strategy, a very simple trading strategy based on this chart right here. And in case you're wondering, this line of support for this parallel channel is currently sitting at around $1.92, and this line of resistance is currently sitting at around $2.61. And so overall, just in the short term, once again, XRP is technically still trending in the bearish direction. That is simply the situation right now for the price of XRP. But of course, during this bearish trend on the 4-hour time frame, of course, we can see the occasional bullish move here and there during a bearish trend, just like how during a bullish trend, we can see the occasional pullback along the way during a bullish trend. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 3-day time frame, right now Solana is obviously still trading below that $210 level, which is a critical level on this 3-day time frame. So in order to flip much more bullish again, we need to at the very least break out back above around 200 to 210 in order to start flipping a little bit more bullish again in the short term. But for now, while we're in this previous range on the price chart, technically speaking, we're basically in a massive sideways price range again, like what we saw previously earlier in the year. And that sideways price range is basically in between around $120 going up towards close to $200 as major support and major resistance respectively. But zooming into the shorter term, looking at short-term levels of support and resistance, obviously right now, as I'm recording this video, and as I've said over the last few days, we have massive support at around $180 at least here in the short term. And right now we're bouncing from pretty much exactly $180 based on these 8-hour candle closes, as we could see. But if we were to see a confirmed break to the downside with candle closes below $180, then in that case, the next major area of support, at least in the short term, is sitting in between around $156 to $161. So we'll likely head there if 180 breaks with confirmation. But for now, 180 is still acting as strong support, at least in the short term. Obviously, right now we're bouncing from that level. But as for resistance, remember, we still have a lot of resistance in between around $200 to $210, with major resistance right in the middle of that range at around $205, acting as a significant level on the price chart. Previous significant support now acting as new resistance. And of course, the short-term situation, as I've been saying for weeks now on the channel, the short term is simply bearish for Solana. I've been saying that since all the way back up here, obviously warning that more bearish price action is likely coming next. And since I've been saying that, since I've been warning that here on the channel, that's exactly what has played out as expected. And I'd only start to flip much more bullish again in the short term if at the very least we see a breakout back above around $205, or ideally back above $210. At that point, I'd start to flip more bullish again in the short term in terms of the trend and momentum here. But ideally, I'd also like to see a breakout back above 222 and also back above 232 as extra bullish signals if we break those levels. And above that, we also have significant resistance at 246 and 260. But once again, I'd start to finally flip a little bit more bullish again if we can break out back above ideally 205 to 210. Because as of right now, at the time of recording this video, for all we know, this could just be yet another short-term bounce during this bearish trend, as we've seen many times here. Obviously, we had these previous levels of support where we did see decent-sized bounces along the way during this bearish trend. So keep that in mind. We can see the occasional bounce back to the upside during a bearish trend, which is why I'd like to see more confirmation, like a confirmed breakout above a key level of resistance, a previous level of support, once again, now acting as new resistance, like $205. I'd like to see that happen first before I'd start flipping more bullish again on the trend. So for now, once again, the trend is still bearish, but as of right now, we are bouncing from short-term support. That is the current situation. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the weekly time frame, right now the Bitcoin dominance is possibly forming the first major lower high that we've seen in a very long time on the weekly Bitcoin dominance chart. And this is not just a normal lower high, because of course we have seen very slight little lower highs like this in the short term, but this is a lower high after actually seeing a major change in the price structure on this larger time frame here, which was that break to the downside below this trend line right here, which was sitting at around 57%. And obviously over the last couple of weeks, we saw a bounce back to the upside, breaking back above that level. And so while the Bitcoin dominance spiked back to the upside over the last couple of weeks, obviously over those couple of weeks, that was not really really good news for the altcoin market, because in case you're new to all of this, when the Bitcoin dominance is bullish, that is not good for altcoins, but when the Bitcoin dominance is bearish, that is very good news for altcoins. And it's also worth mentioning that when the Bitcoin dominance is dumping like this, that's not necessarily bad news for Bitcoin. The Bitcoin price against the US dollar can still go to the upside while the Bitcoin dominance goes to the downside, which is exactly what we saw in these weeks right here in between around the start of November up until around the start of December. Over the month of November, the Bitcoin price obviously went up quite a lot while the Bitcoin dominance actually dumped. And so when we see that, that's often referred to as an altcoin season, where Bitcoin may be bullish, but a lot of the altcoins are even more bullish because the altcoins are gaining market share, hence the drop in the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin is losing market share when the Bitcoin dominance is dropping, so altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin, having bigger gains than Bitcoin during those periods in the market. And so if this lower high confirms with this next weekly candle close, which confirms in around 5.5 days from now, in that case, obviously, that would be bearish price structure beginning to form here on the weekly Bitcoin dominance chart, which is good news for altcoins. That could point towards potentially a major altcoin season in the coming weeks or months if this lower high confirms and we continue a larger pullback, and especially if we break below this low right here in the Bitcoin dominance. Based on the weekly candle close, that was sitting at around 55.3%, or based on this candle wick low, that's sitting at around 54.6%. And so if we not only confirm this lower high, but if we actually break below this low right here in the Bitcoin dominance, once again, that would be a very strong signal pointing towards a major altcoin season where we could possibly make major gains in the altcoin market if that actually confirms. Once again, we're still waiting for confirmation, but we do have this early signal of a possible lower high forming in the Bitcoin dominance after a break below this line of support. And once again, if you want to get set up ready to go to prepare for the next trading opportunities in a potential altcoin season, check out those links below this video to claim those extra bonuses over on those exchanges. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.